On this World Water Day, I'm happy to be joined by my good friend and colleague, Dr. Vijay Sundaram, AECOM's Global One Water Practice Leader, and he can help us to best understand groundwater and how we should be protecting it. Thank you for joining me today, Vijay, and welcome.
Thank you, Bev.
So Vijay, let's talk for a moment about what One Water means to you and why you were so inspired to specialize in this technical area.
There is an immense pressure on natural water resources supporting the industrial growth, agricultural growth, and the municipal growth that we are seeing throughout the population centers. At the same time, we are also striving to protect the ecosystems with this natural water source that we have. And the traditional approach has been more on the linear thinking, where we go and find water, supply to the community, and treat the wastewater and release it back to the environment. And we manage stormwater totally independently in most cases. One water approach, it is mainly inspired by water's natural cycle, where we strive to take the full value of water by reducing the footprint on demand side and also fully utilizing the treated wastewater and captured stormwater to the best possible. This could be augmenting the drinking water supplies, or we can support an industrial growth with industrial cooling and other purposes. And also we support agriculture as a reliable supply to moving forward.
So going from a linear to a circular, closing the water loop, as it were, just
Yes.
like the environment does, but we do it a little bit more managed. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but what are the challenges then do you see, and what are we seeing globally as the challenges for our groundwater sources?
I'm very much glad that we are talking about groundwater in this World Water Day. Groundwater, as you introduced, Bev, it's mainly invisible. We don't think about it often, but very critical issues, the shrinking groundwater aquifers throughout the world. That puts a lot of pressure on communities worldwide. For example, there's the East Porterville underserved community in Southern California and Central Valley, where they ran out of water in 2015 because of shrinking aquifer, and state of California had to support them for long years to find a reliable water supply. The sad part is we are going through another drought, what it looks like, and this community is still not recovered from the shrinking aquifer that experienced. So with groundwater, that's a perspective I want to bring forth to our discussion here. Once the aquifer is shrunk and we are not recharging it often, it could take decades to bring back the aquifer levels, and we felt it's a healthy yield in those aquifers. So it's a paramount that we are talking about it, and we are helping the communities worldwide about it. On top of it, there is a contamination issues where we are seeing PFAS and heavy metals, the groundwater getting polluted, and a lot of underserved communities throughout the United States right now is taking their wells offline because they couldn't utilize it of high pollution with PFAS or other heavy metals.
So, Vijay, do you think that water recycling can really help provide communities with a more secure groundwater supply as we go forward?
Sure, Bev. I think if you look at it from the water reuse itself, we are taking most of the cases, it's a highly treated municipal wastewater, which is a drought-proof and weather-proof supply. There, from the starting point, we are looking at much more reliable supply than, let's say, rainwater capture, because it still relies on having a rain occurring on a regular basis. With that, I will give you some good examples on where our team is working on right now. One is in Virginia, the Norfolk Naval Base. It's on the news 5-6 years ago. The whole base is sinking, and it created a lot of issues because that's one of the largest naval bases for the US, and it is under the threat with saltwater intrusion and the sea level rise. The second one is in the Caribbean. It's the island of Barbados. I had a really good, rewarding experience working with the government of Barbados on developing the regulations with their authorities there, and also paving the way forward on how they could do water recycling in the country. And that project is going through right now in the implementation phases. And that project will convert about 800 acres of land to operation with a reliable water supply and increases the food security of that island, because during COVID, they learned that how important it is to have a local food production, logistical challenges we are facing. And also during the non-irrigation season, we will be recharging the water, the recycled water in the ground for future use. So this is a win-win for helping the society with good jobs, with agricultural jobs, and also helping the future water supply.
Coming off COP26, we've been talking a lot about reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And while we close the water cycle, it also seems that we might be adding more energy to do that. And we want to try to close the carbon cycle as well. What do you think we can do to tackle those almost competing issues, do you think?
With the current regulations and the growth we saw in the water reuse industry or one water industry, there is a lot of very successful programs getting implemented. However, as you said, that puts a big dent in the energy equation or the carbon equation for the same community. I believe that's our path forward. The industry has done a very good job of successfully implementing these reuse programs. But the next step for our industry and our team is to minimize the energy footprint and the carbon footprint involved in those projects. And my passion is putting recycled water projects or purified water projects where we are augmenting your drinking water with highly purified municipal wastewater should not be an impediment in meeting communities' carbon neutrality or energy neutrality goals. So we are thinking about it. For an example, nature-based systems could be key in this. And as we innovate to include those nature-based systems such as soil aquifer treatment and other treatment technologies into the mix, it makes the project also less expensive, where we could go back and help the underserved communities throughout the world with these more affordable technologies.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful, Vijay. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. And I also want to thank our colleagues and our clients and our partners who are delivering comprehensive solutions such as this around the world to address the need for safe, reliable water and protecting this really wonderful natural resource, groundwater. This is a resource worth focusing on today on World Water Day, but also every day. Thank you so much.